So the Democrats have officially kicked John Fetterman out of their party after him increasingly moving more to the right. They even went as far as dropping a hit piece against him, saying that he's unhealthy, he's unwell, he's mentally unfit. The people closest to him have severe concerns, all because he won't tread the party lines and regurgitate every single woke, idiotic Democrat talking point. This is super ironic coming from the party that aggressively defended Joe Biden's mental collapse for a total of 4 years. As always, like the video and subscribe to the channel. This one exposes the true desperation of the Democrats, and I know you're going to enjoy this. But let's watch MSNBC talk about this disastrous and concerning decline in John Fetterman's health.
The major headline here, in what is a very long piece, is that some of the people closest to Senator Fetterman, I mean really close, are extremely concerned about his well-being and mental health.
Yeah, that's right. It's, I mean, it was a really hard story to work on, to be honest. It was a sad story. These are a lot of people who truly believed in Fetterman for a long time, and some of them have political disagreements with him now, and a lot of people want to make this all about political disagreements. But these are people who are genuinely worried about him. They had a hard time working for him, and you know, they want to see him get back on his recovery plan. They feel like he has fallen off the recovery plan that he was on.
Basically, this is someone who had a stroke in the campaign, had to come back from that stroke and go campaign, even as he is having severe auditory processing issues as a result, which is a nightmare if you have to talk all the time. He manages to get elected, and then he checks himself into Walter Reed for 6 weeks for depression.
So now, all of a sudden, him having a stroke is such a big deal for Democrats. This was the issue that Republicans had with John Fetterman when he was running. But the Democrats, they insisted, be compassionate, don't be a bigot. How dare you imply that somebody can't be a United States senator just because they can't think properly or speak or hear? But now the same deficiencies that they once championed are what they're using to try to destroy his credibility. Now, in the clip I just showed you, in the one coming up, they try to make it seem, oh, we're not talking about the political differences he has with people. We're talking about a serious health concern. They try to masquerade it as genuine concern for a man going through something who's suffering. But by the end of this segment, they completely give up the facade and just point blank admit it's because he's more right-leaning. But here they go, continuing to pretend to be nice people and talking about the genuine concern for his health coming from his aides and his colleagues.
But over time, some of the people that I talked to started to believe that maybe he wasn't as good as he had led on, and that behind the scenes, they were having a very difficult time with him where he would shut down, he wouldn't do the job. There would be days where they'd have to clear his schedule so he wouldn't kind of be around people saying what was described as unhinged stuff. Eventually it got to a point where one of these former staffers sent a long email to Senator Fetterman's doctor to kind of, I don't know, I'd say ring the alarm bell that things weren't going well.
Now, it's no secret John Fetterman has obviously been moving more towards the right. I bet in large part it's due to him wanting to be able to sleep well at night and also be able to look at himself in the mirror. And supporting these ludicrous, dangerous Democrat policies certainly makes you incapable of doing that. But on a realistic note, I think it also has to do with him being a senator of Pennsylvania, a state that voted for Trump. He has an obligation to represent the interests of his constituents, who overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump. And for someone who I at least suspect hasn't been muddied by the swamp of Washington and corrupted by special interest groups, I think he has a real desire to govern effectively for his people, and that means finding common ground with the administration. Still to this day, my most popular video on my channel is John Fetterman going on The View and shutting down every single one of their woke talking points. So now that the Democrat Party is in full-blown panic mode over how to deal with Donald Trump, and they don't know what to do other than fight and resist, they see John Fetterman as a threat to their coalition of uselessness. So now they want to sully and discredit him and blame it on the same thing that they championed was so special about him in the first place. And it just shows you the lows that Democrats will go to shame and ostracize any person who doesn't want to go along with their dysfunction. Now, here's where they completely give up the shtick and openly admit it's not about his health, it's the fact that he's moving more towards the right.
Now, one of the things that's publicly clear is a change in the political trajectory of Fetterman, who had been he had been endorsed by Bernie Sanders. He had been sort of in the progressive wing of the party. I talked to him about in that interview I did a long time ago to his wife, who came here when she was undocumented, and he gave a very spirited defense of her being here. And he has moved to the right, I think, on a number of key issues. He still votes with the Democrats mostly, but particularly on Israel and Gaza. And there's some really unnerving things that you report him saying. He went on to make statements that shock people. In opposing a ceasefire, he said, "Let's get back to killing." A person who heard the conversation told me he said, "Kill them all." In a statement, Fetterman denied the account, adding any reference to killing was solely about Hamas. I do support the destruction of that organization down to its last member.
So there you have it. They want to boot Fetterman from the party because he's taking the 80 side of another 80-20 issue. Most Americans have no particular vested interest in either Israel or Gaza. But what most Americans also don't support is radical Islamic terrorists. So we're likely going to pick the other side over the radical Islamic terrorists every day of the week. And the Democrats are showing that to be part of their party, you have to adopt every single radical, lunatic idea and position that they have. You have to support Hamas. You have to support MS-13 gang members. You have to support men playing in women's sports. You have to support continued government waste and corruption. You have to support the global status quo where the American middle-class worker gets shafted. Nothing about what they stand for is popular or even sensible. And that's really the thing about John Fetterman here, is it's not like he's making some massive shift to the right. He's simply deciding that he's going to let common sense and reason dictate his decision-making, not Trump derangement syndrome. And because of that, the Democrats now want to slander him and say that he's going through a health crisis, a mental health decline, all because he won't support a bunch of terrorists in Gaza.
I think that people are surprised by this because it seems out of character for the man who kind of exuded empathy. That was his radical empathy was a big part of who he was. And this kind of rhetoric just does not square with that.
Well, this is what I want to sort of, you don't sort of define, say this definitively, but in the last 35 seconds here, I mean, you don't want to pathologize someone's politics. And yet this is a person who suffered an enormous trauma, health-wise. Like, is he a different person? Is that what the people around him say?
People around him say he's changed, sure. I don't know if he's a fully different person, but certainly the reason that the story came to be is because people can't tell anymore what is an issue that comes from his mental health and what is an issue that he, truly has always believed. The fact that you can't tell anymore is the problem.
Yeah, that is unnerving.
So when Kamala Harris goes from being a radical progressive to a supposed moderate, the Democrat explanation is, hey, shut up, don't ask that question. But when John Fetterman makes the same exact move, they blame it on him having some mental crisis predicated by his stroke that has completely and fundamentally changed him into a different person. So in the Democrat philosophy, people can change their mind when it's convenient to the Democrat apparatus, but when it's inconvenient, it means it's the result of some catastrophic health crisis. And I also find it overwhelmingly hypocritical that the Democrat Party loves to embrace all mental illnesses. They even gave it a cool name, neurodivergence. It's like a superpower when those people fall into their line of politics. But when those same people find themselves to be more centrist or even right-leaning, then they need help. Then they need treatment. Then it's a moment for us to all remember how debilitating mental illness can be. I think what the Democrats are really mad about is John Fetterman giving other members cover to start being more sensible, to start being more centrist and bipartisan and looking for common ground. So instead, they want to make him a pariah. They want to make him seem obtuse and strange and mentally unfit. But it's not working because here is groveling, power-hungry Gavin Newsom looking for answers, trying to get to the bottom of it. Why are Democrats losing?
We lost. We lost the popular vote and we lost the electoral vote. We got crushed. And we need to be humble about that, and we need to have some grace, and we need to understand why. Was it because of the incumbency penalty? Was it because of inflation? Was it because of interest rates? Was it because of immigration? Was it because we were too, quote unquote, woke? Was it because of issues with Israel? Was it all of the above? I think we are going through that forensic. We need to understand at the same time, we also have to push back against the whitewaters and headwinds of the Trump administration.
But, I mean, you're leaving something very important?
So the thing about Gavin Newsom, we all have to remember, he's a snake, he's conniving, he's power hungry, he has no moral stances, but he will say and do whatever to try to increase his political power. So if he thought that bashing Trump and being the anti-Trump guy would win him political points, he would be doing that. But he's doing what he deems to be more politically favorable, which is critiquing the Democrat Party, the radical nature of it all, and moving to a more centrist platform. This spells bad news for the Democrats because still so many of them, essentially their entire party, is still predicated on hanging their hats and dying on these hills of the 20 side of every single 80-20 issue. I trust Gavin Newsom's desire to pursue his own self-interest. And if you've got this guy, someone who can stand on national TV with a smile and defend and spin his way out of Ron DeSantis holding up a poop map of San Francisco, you know this guy will pursue the more moderate appearance, even if it's not truly who he is or what he believes. The Democrats would do well to trust a greedy, power-hungry individual like Gavin Newsom, but they can't. They're handcuffed by the woke left, which is now the entire Democrat Party. Everyone with common sense has already left. Their entire base is the 20 of every 80-20 issue, and they don't care about finding consensus with the American public. They only care about having their self-righteousness validated. They won't rest or concede on any of these unpopular issues until the rest of American society bows down to them, kisses their open-toed sandaled feet, and tell them how smart and enlightened they are because they have a master's in gender studies. This spells imminent disaster for the Democrat Party, which sometimes I'm thrilled about, other times I'm not so thrilled. I want there to be a two-party system, but when I hear Democrat politicians speak and they say they're going to be interested in retribution to all those who help facilitate authoritarianism, I think, you know what, actually keep these people as far away from power as long as we can because they are just deranged and they have completely lost the plot. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video. And I will see you guys in the next one.